Okay, the meeting is recorded. Welcome everyone to the February 24th SIG Apps meeting. I'm Janet Kuo, and together with me is Matt Farina. He's going to co-host with me. So today we have a few discussion topics and then finally a demo. And I'm gonna start with this on Kubernetes cap. So Ken is also on with us. Ken, are you there? Anyways,
yes, I'm here.
Oh, hey, Ken. The first topic is this job completion index enhancement. So from this tab, it looks like the author wants to implement some indexing function that allows you to shard all the jobs you run. And I found that there is a previous discussion about this index job effort by Eric Toon. So does anyone have some thoughts about this effort and how we should move forward?
When we originally wrote the jobs, Eric put together a list of nice to have features to jobs. The index job was one of those, but we never got actually to implementing one of those. But I remember that the index job was something reasonably simple to implement. So unless anyone objects, I think that would be a reasonable thing to add. But I haven't read the cap yet. So I need to have a look at it, how closely it matches what Eric envisioned having. But I think it's a reasonable thing to have.
Yeah, I basically agree with the sentiment in terms of the idea that so if you're running MPI style jobs, being able to identify which job you are via an index that's passed through allows you to modify the behavior of the job based on ordinal, right? So that does make sense. The cap, I think, needs a lot of work though.
Yeah, the current, the way how it's written today doesn't have enough details for how this will be. Yeah.
Yeah, quickly scrolling through the proposal, it's just a rough sketch, and I haven't seen any discussion in a while. So the question is whether the author is still interested in working on this one.
Okay, so I can start with asking if the author is still going to work on this.
Yeah, definitely. That's a good approach.
Okay, sounds good. Does anyone have anything to talk about for this item? If not, we're moving to the next one. It's about the pod disruption budget. Morten is on.
Yeah, I don't think there's that much to say other than we still need review of those two updates to the cap.
Okay.
Those are two issues that we need to address somehow before we will be able to take it or take pod disruption budgets to GA.
Okay, that's basically what I wanted to know. What are you blocked on, and what can we do to help? So, got it.
Okay. And the next one is the StatefulSet feature that Ken would like to present.
Well, I don't want to present, but I just want to well, I mean, I want to write a KEP to go do, to implement volume resizing for StatefulSet, but just want to see if anybody thinks we should not do that now. I think it's time. Like they have volume resizing for most of the CSI implementations and available on all major cloud providers. So I think being reactive to PVC modifications, at least for the size, makes sense. But we have to talk to SIG Storage about the expectations with respect to the pod life cycle if the storage is resized. Like, do they also expect us to restart the pod, for instance? That would be kind of that's one thing to talk. I think as an initial start, syncing PVCs, because we don't really sync with PVCs and like reconcile them inside of StatefulSet control right now, but we could probably do that. So I'd like to put a KEP forward, and like this week, so basically by the time we meet again, we should have a KEP out and just have people take a look, unless there's anybody thinks we should not do this now. I'll take that as let's do it. Okay.
Do we have a cap at some point for this feature?
Yeah, I also think I saw the SIG storage folks asking about volume resizing, and I'm not sure where they ended up, but they might have been a PR or an enhancement already.
There's actually a KEP for this. I think it stalled out like last year though. I'll see if I can find it.
I didn't see a KEP. There's an issue for it. I haven't seen an actual design for how this should work that address the concerns that you would have with integrating it with StatefulSet. But there is definitely an issue. Or maybe it was a light KEP, I don't know.
Yeah, might just work to sync with SIG storage where they ended up with it.
Yeah, it looks pretty stalled out looking at the issue that's open for it. Michelle was looking at it at one point, but.
Yeah, I just dropped it in the chat, at least the PR that didn't get merged.
Well, was this a PR for, let me take a look. There was one PR that was trying to fix sort of an issue, like if you delete the PVC and the StatefulSet, because the StatefulSet isn't sensitive to it. But it wasn't clear. Oh, wait, here we go. Okay, this one I haven't seen.
Yeah, there was a thread. I just found the same link, pasted in the chat. That was like almost a year ago. It was from Hamad from Red Hat. So there's actually 2 links in it. Let me link the original thread from SIG Apps.
So what's the status of this one? Oh, it's still active. Ken, do you want to take a look at this KEP instead? Ken?
Yeah, it actually looks pretty good. We can actually work from this.
Okay, then the next step will be continuing this on this old cap.
Yeah, I mean, there's only a couple of things that kind of need to be cleaned up a little bit.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. Does anyone have anything to talk about for this one? If not, we can move on to the next topic, which is the CronJob GA plan. Currently there seems no motion for this effort. So does anyone have interest to take this forward?
I have lots of interest, a little bit less time.
Maybe you can mentor someone.
Plus time.
Yeah. I'll see what I can do. I can't promise anything. I would love to see this progress forward.
So,
but the time constraint is probably the biggest issue.
Barney was interested in working on it at one point, and it actually kind of put a cap forward.
He did.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, Jordan and I left a bunch of comments there. I'm not sure. I haven't looked if the comments were addressed.
I think it kind of stalled out there. So I was kind of interested in if he was interested in picking it up, or I don't know. But if you can pick it up, that'd be great too.
I'm well aware of that one.
Okay, we can maybe think offline for who's going to help for CronJob GA. So before we move on to the demo, does anyone have anything that they want to talk about? I would take the silence as no. Today I'm going to do a demo for the a new feature in GKE. It's called Application Manager, but for this demo, I'm going to showcase what how you can integrate the SIG Apps subproject application CRD and use that to group your applications. And in this feature, we also use another Kubernetes project called Customize. So let me start with this. I have a slide, actually two. So let me start with talk to everyone about this structure, how we do this application manager. So this GK application manager is a controller that's running in your clusters. So what the controller does is that it grabs the manifest from somewhere, for example, a GitHub repo, and then it pulls them and install them as application, and it uses application CRD controller to report the status of those applications and group them, and then show the version and some other metadata about this application. So we have some CLI tool called app control that creates repositories using customized format. And so for this GitOps-based deployment, we allow you to create different environments for your applications. For example, you can create staging and production in this graph, and then in the first repository, you can, we call it application config repository. You can separate your manifest for each environment by folder. And then in this another deployment repository, all the manifests will be rendered using Customize, and the manifest for different environments will be isolated and separated by using Git branches. So you can imagine that the human is modifying the customized format manifest. And you can have some robots that's rendering those manifests, and maybe it's some script or something running in your pipeline. You will render it for different environments, and then some other reviewers can review it. So that's basically it. So for this demo, I'm going to show you a very simple example app using this structure. So let me go to this. So I'm here now in my app. So before this demo, I already started scaffolded some the repository structure using the CLI tool. So I have this application repository here. It's called First App. And you can see that I put the customized YAML file in the staging environment. And if you click inside, you can see it's pointing to my base configuration. So if you know Customize, if you don't know Customize, it's just you have a base layer for all your as the base of your app, and then in this base layer, I have a Nginx service and deployment, and then in my staging layer, I just put some patches. For example, I changed the number of replicas of my deployment from 3 to 1. And then in this second repository, the deployment repository, I have this first app dash deployment. And here right now, it doesn't have anything because I haven't rendered, I haven't built those role manifest for my staging environment. But you can see here, I have a staging branch for my staging manifest. So right now I'm going to start by adding another environment to my first app. So right now I have the staging environment. I'm going to add this production environment. So I add this production environment. Okay. So after I did this, what happens is that it just adds another customization file under my production folder. And then it points to this same base, and I'm not going to change anything in production. So the production will use the same manifest as the base layer. And it also shows some information for where this production environment lives. And then I'm going to push this change to the Git repository. And that change will be pushed here. So if I click here, I can see the production setup is here. And then that's my staging and production environment for this app. So let's say that I'm now ready to release my app. So I'm giving it a version to 0.1.0 for this first app. So I do that by tagging it. And then I push this tag. So after this tag is pushed, I can just use this command to tell the tool the CLI tool to render my manifest for staging environment by picking up that tag. So the tool is finding that commit for this tag and then creating a pull request. So the pull request is created for the second deployment with the fully hydrated manifest. So why do we need a pull request? This is because that we want to have users to be able to audit their manifest before it's being pushed to the cluster. Of course, you can choose to bypass this, but most of the time you would want someone to take a look before this is being pushed to your environment. So let's say someone, not me, is okay with this change being pushed to the staging environment. They can just approve and merge, or maybe there's some checks here and some robot that's doing the merging thing. So after this is merged, I can just apply this to my staging cluster. And then in the UI, web UI, there's an integration with the application CRD. So if after this first app is being pushed to the cluster, it should show up here. So you can see that this app is being merged and then pushed to the cluster and versioned. And using application CRD, you can see the status of my app by aggregating all the underlying components. And if you're interested in what's in this application CR, it's just the version of this app is here, and then all the components under it and the status of this app. So I just deploy my app to the staging environment. The next thing I want to do is to promote it from staging to production. Then, so I can run a command to push it to production. And again, this will create a pull request. So you can review the changes of the fully hydrated manifest. So in here, it's using the 3 replicas for this deployment, which is the base layer. And I'm gonna go ahead and merge this. So if you look at the previous pull request, you can see that the staging is using the 1 replicas, which is what we specify in customize. And then if I apply this, I can see this first app running in my production cluster. Yeah, it's here in the production cluster. And so I'm gonna also showcase how you do rollback. So I have the second app here. And also the second app here running in the staging cluster, running 0.1.0. So when you use GitOps, usually you don't roll back in the cluster. You usually roll back by rolling forward, by adding a new tag, make a new push. For example, you do some git revert and then do that rollback. But here I'm going to show you that when there's something happens, this 0.1.0 version doesn't work, and I want to just revert it back to the previous version without creating a new git commit. So to do that, I can see what's previous being deployed, and then I can apply to an older version. And after that, this second app will be rolled back to the previous version in a second. Okay, so that's it. So yeah, that's it. So today I'm just gonna showing everyone that how you can leverage this Kubernetes open source effort to build something that that's easy to use, that you can have an overview of something you deploy from your Git repo and how you manage your configurations for different environments. Yeah, that's it. Does anyone have any questions? Okay, see something from the chat. There's a question about what about Helm? So Helm, as I understand it, Helm doesn't support this GitOps flow. And also it doesn't Helm doesn't fully integrate it with application CRD or customize yet.
Two things I can add to this real quick. This is Matt Farina.
Yeah.
As far as GitOps goes, if you look, so the term was coined by the folks over at Weaveworks, and they created Flux, and they have a Helm operator that can be used with a GitOps flow. They figured out how to integrate it in that flow. That's one of the reasons we in the Helm project actually haven't done more with creating controllers that run in the cluster, because there are already tools like that. So it can be used in the GitOps model. And as far as the application CRD, that would need to be in a chart, just like anything else. Helm doesn't automatically create it for you, but if it's another packaged resource, it will be deployed along with like everything else. That's where those two things fit. I'm not sure how it would relate to this tool.
Thanks, Matt. Oh, does that answer your question? I think it's from Omer. Oh, okay, good. Thanks. So if we don't have more topics to discuss, we can end this meeting. Does anyone have anything that they want to talk about? Okay, thanks everyone for coming today.
Thanks, Janet. Bye.
Thanks, bye.
Bye.